Hey guys, we are live. Welcome to episode 38 of the weekly. And with me here is Mr. Warren Bowman from BW1. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. How about you?
Good, good. All right, let's kick things off. I was gonna put a weekly useless of the week, but I figured we might as well start off with the internet blackout yesterday. The web was down. People couldn't watch Netflix. People couldn't stream Spotify. Looks like,
Yeah,
it,
there's a
the
lot
whole
going
world,
on.
the whole world was coming to an end. Russians were attacking us. No, I didn't mean that way. But anyway,
Mhm.
thoughts on the web blackout. Like, there's a piece in the description, guys, from Engadget and also from Wired. I'll put them up there. Wired gives you a simple explanation about the type of attacks, what kind of things happen, where it looks like it originated. So if you want to learn more about that, definitely check that and read up on that. But go ahead, Warren.
Um, it was definitely a frustrating day because it affected several services and just basic things, even just such as email was affected across the board, and it became frustrating, especially because it wasn't really no one really knew exactly what was going on and where the target was coming from until we got to the point of Internet of Things and the appallingly weak security that Internet of Things has,
Hmm.
service has, is just the cause of this. So I hope this is a lesson to for those that companies that are in those particular in the field and involved in products that are based in Internet of Things to just like get your security up, because this is the type of stuff that just can't happen.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, according to Wired, it looks like it was a denial of service attack that started at 7 a.m. Yesterday, and this was aimed at a company called DYN, an infrastructure company in New Hampshire, so in the East Coast. And basically that's where everything stemmed from, at least the initial attacks, anyway. And like you said, it's one of those things where when you're dealing with internet security, it goes a long way to know that, look, we need to have better security, whether it's for things like webcams, for Internet of Things devices, for routers, you name it. There's a lot of stuff in there talking about that. And it's really important because these are the kind of things that can happen. Uh, we don't know what the full fallout is, but at least just in the interim, you can't use your services. So, number one, a lot of companies are not making money. People are not getting services they pay for, things like that. Those are the kind of things that happen, and it's a very serious thing. I mean, we've had, even in this debate cycle with the election, we've had the talks of, attacks from Russia and things like that from, during the campaign. And yeah, a lot of people kind of go like, yeah, it's rhetoric and stuff like that, but this thing's serious. It's really serious, especially when it affects your regular daily life. So I think that's something that plays a lot to it. Um, but it just basically means that companies have to spend more time and pay attention to this overall. Chicago Herb says Netflix was hacked by Showbox. They need some new movies. I don't know who Showbox is, but
So it's sort of like a way to get a lot of internet movies for free.
oh, okay.
So a service that works on Android.
Yeah, iMike's like, where's Juan and Sam? Juan is out. Sam is maybe out. He might be here. He might just magically appear.
You never
So
really know with Sam.
he'll be here. He'll be here. But yeah, it definitely is. Anything else you want to add on that before we move on? And if you guys have any thoughts or any comments, definitely just drop it in the comment section of, sorry, the chat section of this hangout.
Better security, period. Just frustrating day, and it's just like get your shit together on security. It should be like the number one thing thought of when you talk about any type of service that's going over the internet.
Yeah, you would think a lot of companies will spend more time, but I guess this is a wake up call. This is something that they have to really sit down and say, hey, look, we got to spend more money on this thing. We got to make sure that we have the best kind of security possible, or else, it's just going to be completely difficult as you move forward, where you're going to have situations like this. I mean, we have the regular ones with Xbox Live and PS4 almost every year now. I've forgotten who took who took who make it. Oh God, I want to say who took claim for the attack. Yeah, that would be the right word to use. For the Xbox One and PS4, we had that last year. We had it the year before, where people could go online, couldn't play. And it may sound trivial, like, yeah, it's just you playing games online, it's just you listening to music. But remember, you spend your hard-earned dollars for to pay for these services, and also these companies employ people who work to create these services for you. So it affects everyone, across the board down the line. So I think it's interesting to see how a lot of the tech giants will actually respond to this, because you know with the whole email hacks with the DNC, and now companies are getting attacked. These are, I mean, the US is known to be a tech giant as a country as a whole, but then here we are suffering from things like this. And there's no word from no company has said anything. No one has said, okay, these are the steps we're going to take. Of course, we know it's going to take time, but I definitely love to see what happens as that moves on down the line. All right, guys, let's move on to our first topic of the day, the Google Pixel. Pixel is out and available. You can pick it up through Verizon as the sole carrier, or you can pick it up unlocked through Google or through Google's web store, or at Best Buy stores. That's the only other store you can do that and pick up the Pixel. There's the Pixel and the Pixel XL. Both devices are available. Thoughts on the device, Warren? Uh, just in general, like what you've seen, what you think, how you think, Google is going to take advantage of the gap that Samsung has created this fall with the Pixel.
There's going to be no gap that Pixel will take advantage of in that. I don't, outside of, I think, people buying it out of Verizon, I'm not quite sure how many people unlocked are going to grab their phones and aren't probably upgrading their Nexus phone they had previously before. Either probably a Nexus 6 that they're upgrading from the Motorola Nexus 6, most likely is what they're jumping from.
Okay.
So from what I've seen of the device, it seems like a pretty decent device. It's a typical, Google product. I mean, it wouldn't be any different if the logo had Nexus on it. It's kind of looks like to be about the same thing, just they branded it a little bit differently. Camera looks to be decent. The overall software package looks to be pretty decent as well too, and the Pixel UI seems pretty nice. I have to get my hands on one when I do to really give a full sort of thought process on it. But it is a device that's interesting, but I don't think it's going to necessarily fill the hole that the Note has left. I think that's just going to be a hole that's going to sit there.
All right, cool. Looks like we have Sam here in the house. Hey, Sam, how's it going?
Not bad, not bad. If you guys can hear me. Wow, I speak and things fall.
Oh boy.
The Lord.
What's good, man? What's good? So, Sam, since we have you here, quick thoughts on the denial of service attacks that we had yesterday. What are your thoughts? We've talked about internet security from companies, these attacks. Just sum up just generally what your thoughts are.
Well, it's kind of interesting, the fact that at the end of the day, I think it'd be very interesting to see how this actually took place. People are saying it was the inroads with particular devices on your PC. I personally think it's probably a botnet, because I think that's what some people were saying, and that makes a lot of sense. I think someone decided to target the United States, because if you look at the map of the affected websites, the heat map basically says that this was a U.S. focused attack. So if it was something more of a just a bunch of hackers being whatever, you would have seen it affecting multiple places, like it would be Xbox, which would have affected Xbox logins all over the world, because they are targeting Xbox servers. But it just looks as though they are targeting businesses in the United States with DDoS attacks. So it's really going to be interesting to see exactly if it was using botnets, as people assume, if it was through webcams like other people assume, or if it was just a concerted attack directly on our industrial infrastructure. And if that's the case, then it looks more and more like it was an organized what's the best word for it? It was organized by a sovereignty rather than just a handful of individuals. So it would be interesting to see that. Overall, I think it's worthwhile for people to be a little bit, not just companies, but individuals to be a little bit more cognizant of exactly what's going on with their PC. If the PC is being used as a botnet to facilitate these attacks, or if at the end of the day they need to, or they, themselves more to mitigate any future attacks, be it for their personal information or things of that nature. Because I think everyone in this day and age is becoming a little bit more conscious that even if they're secure on their end, companies also should be secure, because that's a place where a lot of our information will go. Especially when you start looking at the fact that that one of the major parties in this country had a donor list of credit card numbers from donor lists that was just basically let out there at the end of the day. So security and just being security conscious would be a lot. Yeah, I would say something that's going to continually grow in the minds of Americans going forward.
All right, cool. Thank you for that very detailed breakdown. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you is also on the I was going to say Nexus 6B. Sorry, the
Pixel.
yeah, that device.
Well, the Pixel is a nice device. Hardware-wise, it's not the greatest. Camera-wise, it's actually pretty good. And overall, I think it's overpriced. I think for what it's doing and for where it's placed, it could be doing a lot more. The fact that Google is releasing what is, in essence, a flagship device, specced like a high-end mid-tier device, priced like a flagship device, but yet doesn't have full waterproofing and some of the other things we'll expect. So even the amount of RAM in the device leaves a little bit to the imagination. The fact that we see a resurgence of SD cards going into devices, and Google has decided to opt out of the whole SD card, of having an SD card in the Pixel, kind of leaves a lot of things to be desired on there. I would say for the Pixel, when it comes to me, I like the overall look and feel of the Pixel. I like how I like the design language, but the design language seems as though it's a reused HTC design, so it's not even that original. What Google is trying to do with this maybe is assert itself as a hardware manufacturer and basically reclaim or should I say, reduce that fragmentation that people have claimed that Android has, or yet that Android does have an issue with. Maybe that's what Google is trying to do. But right now, I don't see the Pixel as a go-to phone to replace any of your devices, any of your flagship devices out there. If you name any other flagship device, I would say they have a better ecosystem or
This fall with the Pixel.
There's going to be no gap that Pixel will take advantage of in that. I don't, outside of, I think, people buying it out of Verizon, I'm not quite sure how many people unlocked are going to grab their phones and aren't probably upgrading their Nexus phone they had previously before. Either probably a Nexus 6 that they're upgrading from the Motorola Nexus 6, most likely is what they're jumping from.
Okay.
So from what I've seen, the device, it seems like a pretty decent device. It's a typical, Google product. I mean, it wouldn't be any different if the logo had Nexus on it. It's kind of looks like to be about the same thing, just they branded it a little bit differently. Camera looks to be decent. The overall software package looks to be pretty decent as well too, and the Pixel UI seems pretty nice. I'll have to get my hands on one when I do to really give a full sort of thought process on it. But it is a device that's interesting, but I don't think it's going to necessarily fill the hole that the Note has left. I think that's just going to be a hole that's going to sit there.
All right, cool. Looks like we have Sam here in the house. Hey, Sam, how's it going?
Not bad, not bad. If you guys can hear me. Wow, I speak and things fall.
Oh boy.
The Lord.
What's good, man? What's good? So, Sam, since we have you here, quick thoughts on the denial of service attacks that we had yesterday. What are your thoughts? We've talked about internet security from companies, these attacks. Just sum up just generally what your thoughts are.
Well, it's kind of interesting the fact that at the end of the day, I think it'd be very interesting to see how this actually took place. People are saying it was the inroads with particular devices on your PC. I personally think it's probably a botnet, because I think that's what some people were saying, and that makes a lot of sense. I think someone decided to target the United States, because if you look at the map of affected affected websites, the heat map basically says that this was a US focused attack. So if it was something more of a just a bunch of hackers being whatever, you would have seen it affecting multiple places, like it would be Xbox, which would have affected Xbox logins all over the world, because they are targeting Xbox servers. But it just looks as though they are targeting businesses in the United States with DDoS attacks. So it's really going to be interesting to see exactly if it was using botnets, as people assume, if it was through webcams like other people assume, or if it was just a concerted attack directly on our industrial infrastructure. And if that's the case, then it looks more and more like it was an organized what's the best word for it? It was organized by a sovereignty rather than just a handful of individuals. So it would be interesting to see that. Overall, I think it's worthwhile for people to be a little bit, not just companies, but individuals to be a little bit more cognizant of exactly what's going on with your PC. If the PC is being used as a botnet to facilitate these attacks, or if at the end of the day they need to or themselves more to mitigate any future attacks, be it for their personal information or things of that nature. Because you know I think everyone in this day and age is becoming a little bit more conscious that even if they're secure on their end, companies also should be secure, because that's a place where a lot of our information will go. Especially when you start looking at the fact that that one of the major parties in this country had a donor list of credit card numbers from donor lists that was just basically let out there at the end of the day. So security and just being security conscious would be a lot. Yeah, I would say something that's going to continually grow in the minds of Americans going forward.
All right, cool. Thank you for that very detailed breakdown. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you is also on the I was going to say Nexus 6B. Sorry, the
Pixel.
yeah, that device.
Well, the Pixel is a nice device. Hardware-wise, it's not the greatest. Camera-wise, it's actually pretty good. And overall, I think it's overpriced. I think for what it's doing and for where it's placed, it could be doing a lot more. The fact that Google is releasing what is, in essence, a flagship device, specced like a high-end mid-tier device, priced like a flagship device, but yet doesn't have full waterproofing and some of the other things we'll expect. Even the amount of RAM in the device leaves a little bit to the imagination. The fact that we see a resurgence of SD cards going into devices, and Google has decided to opt out of the whole SD card, of having an SD card in the Pixel, kind of leaves a lot of things to be desired on there. I would say for the Pixel, when it comes to me, I like the overall look and feel of the Pixel. I like how I like the design language, but the design language seems as though it's a reused HTC design, so it's not even that original. What Google is trying to do with this maybe is assert itself as a hardware manufacturer and basically reclaim or should I say, you know, reduce that fragmentation that people have claimed that Android has, or yet that Android does have an issue with. Maybe that's what Google is trying to do. But right now, I don't see the Pixel as a go-to phone to replace any of your devices, any of your flagship devices out there. If you name any other flagship device, I would say they have a better ecosystem or a better design mentality than Google has right now. From the software side, it might just be that if you're someone who likes the vanilla Google experience, of the vanilla Android experience, then yes, this is a device for you, because it comes in and replaces the Nexus device that you're used to. But apart from that, I really don't see much that compels me to want to, get my hands on a Pixel device, be it the Pixel or the Pixel XL.
All right. I, I think one of the things to mention here with with the Pixel is that the camera is good. Or I'll call it, yeah, it's probably the best auto camera because I've done camera videos and people have been bitching, saying that I'm trying to skew it to Samsung, but I'll just refresh and tell you what it is. If you want to pick up a phone and you pull out of your pocket and you take a photo, I think the Pixel probably does it better than any device right now. Um, Google has done a lot software-wise. Video recording without OIS is actually good until you start moving your hands, and then the thing jumps. Literally, you can stand there and move forward, but once you start moving side by side or you take steps, normal OIS tries to balance the video capture in the center. This will software It's a software trick where it tries to keep the image and then shifts. If there's no image you're focusing on, then it's literally this kind of movement left and right. Where devices like Samsung S7 Edge or S7 and the LG V20 do a much better job is the fact that, hey, you go to pro mode, bam, done. I mean, it's 100 times better. You just get a really good experience. Now, the Pixel, I think it's a nice device, but like Sam said, the pricing for it is something that you have to justify. You get stock vanilla Android experience here, but this is a device that they haven't put in everything that you should expect from a top tier device. Now, some people will say, well, Apple devices don't have everything. They only have water resistance, just came now. Apple has always positioned themselves as premium. Doesn't mean they pack premium stuff in there, but their customers have been willing to do that for quite a while. So you now want to go into the Android space and do that while still targeting Apple users. So it's a little mixed messaging that I will have to see how Google does at the end of the day. I will give them props for at least now fully pushing the device, running ads on TV, a lot of ads on the web, of course, as well as having, pop-up stores. It looks like they're going to open up more pop-up stores around the country as the holiday season pushes in. So we'll see how it does. It's a nice device. If you're a Note user or anything like that, then I don't think it's going to take you away from that at all. I mean, I think that Samsung ecosystem does a really good job in general, but we'll see how it goes. So Link 057 says I only get about 3 hours on screen time on Marshmallow. Has really made battery life much better. Yeah, I mean, in terms of battery management, it does a much better job there. Now, anyway, we'll move away from Pixel because it's one of those things where
screen time is not the greatest thing to measure battery life with.
Yeah, exactly.
I see that creep up because there's a lot of tech YouTubers out there like to measure something like it. You can't measure a phone use like a PC, and that's like one of those things of trying to measure it like a PC, and it just does not work that way.
Yeah, I mean,
it's got to be your daily use, how you use it, what do you use it on a regular basis for, and that'll give you a better perception of what your battery life will be, which can vary from person to person and even location to location, depending upon how good a signal is within your area versus someplace else.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that's something that, with screen time, battery life, it really is dependent on your use, and also, how things are managed with devices like this altogether. All right, let's move on to the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo announced its brand new console, the Switch, and for Nintendo, this is their move back into trying to capturing that console space. Now, the Switch, if I can find an image, or if you do you have an image, Warren, the Switch is basically a console and a portable at the same time. What that means is that the Switch is a tablet that is docked into a dock station, and you can play games on there. And when you want to, jump in, take a trip somewhere, or you have to go out, you can basically pick up your Switch tablet and game on the road. Now, Nintendo to give us specs or any kind of details on what kind of performance this device will give. Literally, they had a video, which we can put the link down in the description for you if you haven't seen it, that basically says this is the Switch. You can game anywhere you want to. You can do a bunch of really cool things, and that's about it. They don't give us any other details on what this console can do. So let me just share my screen and show you guys here quickly. So this is image of the Switch here from. And yeah, so this is what it looks like. First thing for me, my thoughts. I hate that Switch controller. Forget we can talk about the tablet and portability, but that controller is just goddamn ugly. What I think they should have done is just attach the two sides to the tablet and just give you a standard controller and not have to deal with this hot mess that you're seeing right here, because to me it doesn't make any sense. We do know the Switch will use flash memory because they actually showed it in the video. It has a kickstand. You can do multiplayer, some really cool multiplayer setups where multiple people can connect their Switches in LAN parties, and then you can actually have multiple people playing on one Switch or the other. So I'll start off with you, Warren. What are your thoughts on the Switch? Because I mean, we know you're a big Nintendo fan. So what do you think about the Switch itself? How do you think this will help Nintendo, especially launching March 17th?
Labeling me as the fanboy of the group?
I say you're a big Nintendo fan. I didn't say a fanboy.
Some people were invested in Nintendo in here. I don't know.
Of course I have Nintendo stock. I'm not stupid.
But I think it's nice. I actually think it's an interesting concept that of being able to sort of game on the go, but also have the ability to play at home. It's something that they've been working with for a while and trying to figure out, and other companies have been trying to jump in and to do the same thing, and it seems like they finally got some type of system that works with that. I actually don't mind the controller. I think the controller looks nice. It should be, it's not something so wacky or insane. It's still basically a standard controller. It still fits in the hand. It fits in the hand like a standard controller. And it's not something like this giant Wii U pad that you have to get somewhat used to, unless you have massive hands like I have, where it feels normal, or you have, or something like the Wii remote where you had to get used to the motion controls and sort of all those extra things, which is something we don't even know if the Switch even has quite yet, among other things, because they didn't really mention anything about what this product has in terms of specs and features. It just kind of showed what it did. But they, like you see right there, even the controller in hand, that's far normal of a controller than the last normal controller they put out since that has been the GameCube controller. So I mean, I give them credit. It doesn't look terrible. I think the big thing is going to be, what else does it do, and what are the specs of it? What's the battery life on this thing? This 6 months out, and we haven't heard anything about this yet. These are the things that they should have told us in this video. I mean, almost every console launch, you usually know almost a year, almost before. Well, at least if it's announced by E3, we know anywhere from 6 to 8 months ahead of time what the specs of that console is going to be. And they usually announce it at the announcement. And I was at the Wii announcement. They announced all the specs and everything. At the PS3 announcement, they announced everything. Xbox 360, and I was even at the Wii U announcement, and they announced everything right then and there. Xbox did the same thing with the Xbox One, and PS4 did the same thing as well. Sony did the same thing with the PS4, but we didn't get any of that here. So that kind of, I think, leaves more questions than answers. Flash storage, I'm happy about them using SD cards instead of disk. I think that's just kind of what they have to do. But the problem kind of comes into play, like, can you add storage to this? How much storage is on this? Wirelessly playing with each other. There's so many damn questions this video brings up that it's hard to get, to get anything really good, anything out of it. And then I'll say this to Chicago. Tell me what controller actually looks good. Find me a controller that doesn't know every single
sidewinder.
Every single controller for every new gaming console comes out. The first thing everyone says is it's bad ugly, and I don't know, it looks all confusing, and then everybody gets it, games, and shuts the hell up. So like let's get over this. Let's actually look at the fact that they're probably going to be the only company to actually get something modular to work for people. Think about that.
Dude,
they're the only ones.
You can't sell that.
Oh,
can't sell that controller anymore.
Yeah, I can.
That
It's a
controller,
good.
that controller is just
Does it
as
matter
the fact,
does,
and the fact,
will
and the
it
fact of
matter?
the
Will
matter
it
is
matter
they're
if you can
actually
play?
creating
Will it
something
matter if it
with the
plays
modular.
well? No, because if they get creative,
It
you
will
like
matter.
many of the
It will
whiny
matter.
gamers are gonna start
Look
whining
at the
and bitching and
controller.
crying.
Look
I
at
just
the
want standard
controller.
gaming. Don't give me anything
Look
new
at
or
the
innovative.
controller.
Yeah,
The fact of the matter is
yeah,
they're
guess what? I
creating
look
a
at the
more
controller,
traditional
and
controller to
that
be used
controller
with.
looks that way. That controller looks that way because traditional whiny, cry, bitchy gamers out there don't want any innovation.
There
So
is
that's
a
what the hell you get.
traditional style. The
That's
thing
what
is
you
just
get.
simply this.
That's what
You
you
need a
get.
controller you can need a controller you can take on the go. That's why they created that. That to me is not going to be the main controller that a lot of people are going to use. The traditional controller that basically comes that you can buy additional to it is probably going to be the biggest use, or probably an old what's it called, G-pad that you have for the Wii U or the Wii. It's probably going to be your main controller for it. I don't think that controller is designed to be used when you're sitting down at home gaming, because that thing looks small, it looks cramped. The modular
Hey,
design is really
they
for on-the-go
showed a
gaming.
few people
That's really
using
what
that
it is.
controller, and it looks like it works. So maybe it works for some
Well,
people. You
they
never know.
showed a few. They
We all
showed
complained.
a few
Hey,
people
I
using the
remember when
VR
there was
controller
complaining
and
about the
having
Nintendo
deployments.
64 controller. There was complaining about the GameCube controller. Then and it looks like a Wavebird. For God's sakes, I think everybody be happy about that, because everybody loved the damn Wavebird. It looks like it. So, like, this is
All right,
why.
Before we over yell, I get both sides, but I think it's very simple. This looks like an Atari Lynx right here. And I think this is where Nintendo made a mistake. This is where I think they made a mistake. This is what they should have done. Yes, I'm fine with the modular control. I'm fine you splitting it off on the console, but you should not have created a dock for it here for home. It does not make any sense.
Actually, it makes perfect sense, because if you put it on the sides there, all of you're going to whine about it. It's like another Wii U gamepad, and you sit there and cry about it. Give me something traditional.
Warren, relax. You're docking this at home. The way they showed it in the video is that when you're mostly at home, you put it on the dock and you play on your TV. When everyone was running out, we saw the lady in the video. She basically picked it up from a dock when her friends were yelling from the other building. She picked it up and then she took it outside. That's what the video says. So if the video is saying that, basically Nintendo is saying when you want to use the modular side of this thing is when you're on the road, which is fine by me. This is fine, what you're seeing here. But that dock at home makes it look really, really off. And to me, that's where, again, it's the sell on consumers of how many multiple controllers you're going to get. It looks off. It looks off. Look at this. Look at this right here. It looks off. It's one of those things where it's not going to feel tight as a controller. I mean, you're going to default back always to this controller right here. You go always.
We haven't even had it in the hand yet, and we're already panning the thing. Like, Jesus,
I'm not panning. No.
We're already panning it, and we haven't even had it in the hand to give it a shot.
I'm not panning it. I'm saying that it looks off. If I said it was terrible, that's called panning. Remember, I said it looks off. That I think they made a mistake. If I said they actually are going to bomb, it's called panning. Again, very simple.
I'm just saying
I am giving
a controller that looks like pretty much a Wavebird, and everyone's complaining about it. So it looks fine.
No, that does not look like a Wavebird, my friend.
Go get a Wavebird and look at that thing, and it's damn near close to the same thing. Oh my
God, man!
That's basically what they took.
You need to get new glasses. You know what?
I don't need to get new glasses. You need to quit complaining about. You need a new glasses.
No, you need new eyesight. That's what you need, my friend. Because that is not a Wavebird.
It looks very similar to a Wavebird. It's about
I am about
a wide base. It was a Wavebird was a wider base. Standard game controller was wider and thicker. It's like that similar design. I'm not saying it's exactly the same thing, but it's very much that bulky, bigger controller.
Bam. Look at Wavebird right there. Does that look the same? No. I'm sorry. That does not look the same as this.
I didn't say it looked the same like this. I said it looks. I'm saying it looks similar to it. It's like that similar design.
So Warren. The facts of the matter, sir. I'm getting muted. Okay, before I get into the Wavebird and not Wavebird, the thing is, this is a freaking Tegra. Okay, so basically this is the NVIDIA Shield. In case everyone's wondering, we might not know a lot of hardware on it, but this is literally, to me, an NVIDIA Shield. It has a Tegra processor in there. Even freaking NVIDIA released a
the K1 or whatever it was a few years ago. the tablet that looked like
I
this.
think
They had a tablet like
the
this a
Shield,
couple.
with the NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah,
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 the Shield. Yeah, and it's essentially doing the same thing that the Shield could do. So I think I think Nintendo is basically just getting the design and the processor from NVIDIA, and I wonder what this means for Nintendo NVIDIA collaboration going forward. Because if this is using one of those newfangled, was it the 1060 chipsets they have for mobile? This might actually be very good. The graphics on this might be actually very good, and the fact that it can play Skyrim says a lot to that end. So, to me, I'm actually a little optimistic that the internals might be good enough to support at least 1080 gaming on on the TV, and probably push more than 1080 because it's a wide angle, probably pushing 2K gaming on the screen itself. I'm actually hoping that's the case, but we don't have any specs yet. But
yeah.
if it can do 1080 on your big screen, I think I might actually be buying this thing because this
Well, I
might
think
be the
in mid,
Nintendo console I get.
I mean, in mid, it has to at least do 1080p because the last console did that, so it has to be able to do that. I think at the minimum, it's going to be interesting what the resolution is when you take it out of the dock on that display that we have no
And the
idea what
frame
the resolution is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we
the
don't
frame
know.
rates when you pump it into the TV, that's going to be interesting to see. If it can do 1080 at 60, that might be good. That might be very good. If it can do it at more than 60, hey, that's extremely good.
I don't know if they'll get that high. I think at best they'll get like a 1080. I think it will get 1080p 30. We should just kind of hope for most games will run that way, and there will be some games higher
But
than
that would be
60.
tough, man.
That would be
1080. See, that's the thing. That would be a problem because everybody's going 4K. So 1080 at 30 on a 4K screen.
yeah, but
That's I don't know, man.
I'm guaranteeing that's not a 4K screen. That screen at
No, I'm
best,
saying
because it was rumored before to be 720. It was rumored a while. It was a 720p display. So
no,
I'm hoping it's
Warren, what
not
I'm
that.
saying is most people at home are probably going to be migrating over to 4K TVs. So if you're going to be when you dock it, if it's at 1080 at anything less than 60,
Well, if it can
it's going to
upscale.
be kind of awkward.
Well, if it can
Yeah, I hope it
upscale.
does. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm assuming that with the two consoles that are now to be able to upscale it at the minimum. So if it can do that, I mean, if the screen could be a minimum 1080, it would be nice. If the display itself could be, it might be a little less than that. I think it's going to be a little less than 1080, but like not bottom of the barrel 720. The game will still look somewhat good. But the big thing is going to definitely be on the if it can at least upscale to 4K. To compete with the other two consoles that are going to be doing 4K, like upscaling at least.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, look, Warren thought I was dissing this thing from the very beginning. I like it. I haven't gone to the points that I actually like on this console. The main thing is here is that to me is what is Nintendo doing when it comes to either the tablet and the dock? Are we getting more processing power off the dock itself? Is it something where when we dock the console, we get better performance, or is it just the same performance across the board? That's what I want to know. Those kind of specs in there. But I do like I like the multiplayer fact. I mean, like I can see PAX East next year when I go, a bunch of people will come with their their I want to call it NX. I don't know why that came back to my mind. The switches in PAX, everyone's just around in the circle. You drop your switch, you can all multiplay like that right there. I mean, like that experience,
We'll see.
I mean, if it works well, it works well. If it doesn't, then who knows? But I think that's something that will bring a whole different, because Nintendo, we all know how people love playing Smash together, love playing Mario Kart together. So that kind of thing is something that they can do well with this console if everything works. But the main problem is we don't know anything. We don't know what that resolution is. We don't know what kind of connectivity this thing will be using. We don't know the processor, the RAM, the storage, like you said, what kind of expandable storage you're going to have on this thing altogether. So there's a million and one things that we do not know on this console. So far, the reaction for this video has been mostly positive. I mean, you see hardcore gamers who complain and say, it's not for me, but well, it isn't for you. I think what this console does, it pairs up well with the PC console player in a very weird way. I know a lot of people who have switched to PC and are like, forget consoles. Like, I don't need a console because I can get a lot of games on there. But you having something like the Switch now becomes that other companion console piece. and something you can take with you on the go. So I can see where Nintendo's trying to pay. I mean, they continue the blue ocean strategy, which they started with the Wii. You don't have to beat everyone. You just have to be the other great option that everyone can pick up.
I think it's just leading back to them always being that, like like I said, the third option, or that option for PC gamers. It just becomes, in the end of the day, when you hear PC gamers say that I don't need a console anymore, screw consoles, but then at the end of the day end up with some type of console on the side anyways, because either exclusive or some reason, or it's just easy to pick up and play, or it's just like something like the Nintendo Switch, where it's just something a little bit different for you that you don't get directly on the PC itself. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing that I like to have this PC console sort of hybrid, where two things can actually live together and not have this battle between each other. I think it's honestly a good thing to have, and I'm glad that companies like Nintendo kind of keep that rhetoric alive a little bit, because I think if it was left up to like Sony and Microsoft, they would not do a good job of that. And no more than
the pricing is going to be
more than $300. No more than that.
It can't be even up to. I think it shouldn't be anything more than $250, because if you look at $300 price point, you start looking at almost Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, but they could get away with that because it can get away with that kind of because we're saying it's the best mobile gaming experience that you'll get anywhere. So you're paying for the fact that you can take that type of thing on the road. Something that Sony tried and still wasn't able to do it, even with the PS Vita.
No, the Vita was a solid hardware. Sony just couldn't market that well enough to get the right games on there. The Vita, the PSP and the Vita were solid hardware, but it's still very solid hardware. But at the end of the day, I think this is going to be your second console for those people who have an Xbox right now and don't have a PS4, or have a PS4 and don't have an Xbox. This is going to be your second console, so it might as well be priced right. If it's priced well enough, I would say $250 at max, maybe $300. People would do it, but at anything more than $300, you start getting back into the whole idea of getting a second console, and that just does not work.
I think the issue comes with the pricing of like things like the PS4 Pro, that's like $400, and then you have the pricing for the whatever this Project Scorpio thing, which is going to be $400 to $500 as well too. They can't be but so low, but honest to God, I'd love for them to release this thing in $199, so it just gets the hell out there. It would be the best pricing they would have ever done. I have the slightest 10% feeling that they might actually do that. They might just drop it at a $199 price point, but they might not be able to because of the competition. They might need to keep their pricing somewhat close to that to not look like too much. To not look like too much of a cheaper option.
No, I think 300 is the right price. And you people are saying Xbox territory. What you should do, Nintendo needs to bundle something in there. Look, it's all about just perceived value. If you make it 300, you throw in a game in there. Whether it's a Mario, or even if it's a port of something from the Wii that you put on there, that gives people perceived value. At 300 makes sense, because 300 is probably the right price point where you want to make profit margin, and when you want to actually now drop the price to 250, you get better sales. Because you start at 250, it's dangerous. If you start at 199, you have to keep it at 199 for quite a while, and ensure that sales continue at that point. So I think
they're willing to take the hit on the hardware.
Exactly,
that'd be the thing. Well, man, they'll still make some money, but they'll make as much as they used to off of the hardware.
There's no hit on the hardware, dude. I'm going off the assumption that this is a freaking Shield tablet. The Shield tablet is $199.
No.
You're not going to take it.
It's not a Shield tablet. It's based off. It's all based off AMD GPU and CPU. So AMD is doing all three consoles again.
It has a K1.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have a K1.
NVIDIA has its freaking what's called press release on its website. NVIDIA is inside this device. This thing is a freaking Shield.
No, when did NVIDIA say that?
It's a Shield.
No. When did NVIDIA release? I'm looking at the website now because I didn't see anything from NVIDIA about this device at all. NVIDIA didn't say anything.
If you go, wait, 1 sec. I'll give you the link.
All right, sure. As long as NVIDIA
blogs.nvidia.com. NVIDIA technology powers new home gaming system Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay, all right, fine.
And the tablet is the Shield tablet is $199. So they probably are making this thing for anywhere between 100 and 150 max. So at 250, that's what I'm saying. At 250, these guys are doing a pretty damn good job of making a profit. They should sell this for 250.
The question is, sorry about that. The question basically simply this is, fine, if the K1 or a variant of the K1 is running the tablet, is there anything else in the dock? Because if the dock has a 1060 variant or 1050 most likely, because they just announced the 1050 variant, then they will still probably sell for 300. That's the only difference. I don't know what is in the dock. That's if the dock has anything.
I don't think the dock has anything more than just pushing stuff out. I think,
yeah, if the dock is just pushing stuff out, then 250 is the price. Literally, it would have to be 250.
I think they need to
at max 199 definitely. Yeah.
199. I think for them, in the position that they're in with the Wii U doing as poorly as it's done, they need to make it so that it's not a question when someone buys this thing. It's got to be similar to how the Wii came out. Because I think the original Wii was, what is it, 249, 250? 250 when it first came out. When it came out, that sold when it came out on the basis. It was like that sold on the basis of the motion controls afterwards. So there was that ability to look, oh, this is something new and we've never seen before. Now this one we're dealing with probably the best portable gaming console that you can find, which not everybody wants. So trying to add that tax on that extra on it would be difficult. I think they have to either go at the $300 price point, look like they're competitive with everyone else. They're the $100 cheaper price point, then bring it down a little bit later over time. Or if the Wii U sales are, we know they're bad and they just need hardware out there and developers are demanding they get hardware out there, then they need to push this at a $199 price point and keep it that way so that when people walk into the store and they see this, it's not something that they think, oh, that's an expensive purchase. That's something I can pick up off the shelf and just go. And if that could be the mindset of the console, that would benefit Nintendo the most. Because the library of games are already there. Because if they see the Nintendo, if you look at the colors and scheme that they're using, they're going back to the original NES days. Outside of using gray, it's black and red again. So that's obviously done for a reason. And I wouldn't be surprised if the boxing and the box art stuff doesn't somewhat try to trigger people to remember the NES days when walking past. Like I see this console sitting in a Walmart on not just in the gaming section, but like on an end cap where people just walk by, see it, they go whoop, and it's just kind of done.
I have a feeling that this thing might have a mobile 1050 or 1060 in there. I'm reading the blog here, and
that's what I'm thinking. If it also has a 1060. That would be a badass device. That's why I'm like, it's to me, it's going to hinge on what it does on the screen. Like whatever it can do on the on your big screen TV at home is definitely going to sell this. That's what's going to sell it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm laughing because since we are both in the same location, it's hard to mute and switch.
Yeah, we got to mute ourselves. Sorry.
You guys suck at this.
No. You don't understand. I'm hitting mute. I have the master controls. I'm trying to hit mute. It does not want to respond. So I apologize, guys, for having this like back and forth. So what Sam was saying, that he thinks also that because this might have a mobile 1060 or 1050, and no, there's no mobile 1050, but there might be a custom version of a 1060 for this console. If that's the case, then we're looking at something, because we know the 1060 can game, and we have it on gaming laptops right now. And that might be something that a lot of people will go, like for us, will go, wow, performance on this thing might be really, really good, especially for solid 1080p gaming, all the way. So
we need to get consoles to play consistent 1080p 30. Screw the 60. If we could get consoles to get to that point and just walking out the door, that's already an accomplishment of itself. We have these systems now that can't even do that consistently. None of them can. So we could get to that point where every Nintendo game is running at not just because I know with Nintendo's own developed games, they've always had those things running at 1080p 30 from their own library. But not just theirs, but theirs and all the third-party developers, which is the big thing we're not even talking about. It looks like they finally have this third-party support they've been missing for a long time. You look at if you noticed at looking at the commercial, they really highlighted third parties, and you only saw this. Really, you saw the Zelda game, which everybody already saw. You saw the Splatoon, which that's already out, so everybody knows about that. That's naturally going to probably show up on there. The only new thing you saw from Nintendo was the Mario game. That could have just been a tech demo for that thing, and it might not even show if that's a new Mario game coming.
Has any of the third parties actually confirmed that these games are going to be on the Switch?
Oh no! You know what they say. We're happy to partner with you.
To see if anyone.
We're happy to partner with Nintendo on this, but we can't confirm or deny any games that are out right now. You know that's a standard line.
Well, the one thing, sorry. The one thing I do like from official Keith says is that, he thinks pricing should be $249, $299, $349, and use the standard memory size module. Because if you can do that, then that allows you room for people to pick up.
Let's say if they're gonna make multiple versions, multiple sizes of this.
No, I mean, but that's what's on the market right now, and people don't care. Literally, it shows. It shows that people just don't care. As long as you say it's starting at $249 and you make it 500 gigabytes, done.
Yeah, you're not gonna get 500 gigabytes.
I know. I'm just saying whatever. You can I mean, well, it's gonna be more expensive. If you
we're talking about like $1,000 console now. At that point, I could see there's got to be an SD card in this, because as soon as there's an SD card, they're only gonna sell one version. The second, if it's 64 gig standard, they'll sell the 64 gig standard and it's SD card support. That's just what they'll roll in.
They need to do 256. Do a 256 in there and be done. 256 SD cards are not that expensive now.
Yeah, but that internally probably, I'm talking about internal built-in memory isn't going to be SD card memory. That's most likely going to be something.
You can do cheap 256. It's going to be slower. It just depends on what kind of speed you're looking at. I mean, there are things that they can do and mix around to do this, but I think the different storage pricing options might be a better play to space things out.
And that's something Nintendo does. That's the problem. I understand it. I think it is the better play to have those different options from a 32, 64, and 128 probably options, but the problem is that I just don't see Nintendo doing it. And really got to remember, Sony doesn't really do that for the most part kind of either anymore. They kind of...
Yeah, they walked away from that. So Microsoft is the only one who's doing that right now.
Who's really stupid for keeping the 2 terabyte thing standard.
No, 2 terabyte is still there.
Yeah, but it's like limited edition.
Yeah, you can still buy it. There's a lot of them out there. So
maybe they got smart.
Yeah, they said it's limited. I can guarantee they're probably slowly just pushing it out there and just doing stuff like that.
No 500 gig, no 1 terabyte. Just sell the 2 terabyte and give people the storage that they need, and call it a day.
Yeah, but I think Mad Cheese is right. We'll have to wait and see with the Switch because we have no idea. But
that's the problem with this video. What I was talking about earlier is just. It produced more questions than actual answers.
But this is interesting from NVIDIA's standpoint, though. I mean, thank you, Sam, for pointing this out, and also the people in the chat, because people were like, please read the chat. I apologize. We're in the heated discussion here and trying to switch mute mic, so it was difficult to switch back to that. Yeah, so you can hear Sam through my mic probably because he's still muted.
You guys are useless, man.
Sam is still muted on his mic, but
I'm gonna stay muted too.
Oh gosh,
I'm going to jump in, but But I think this is interesting that NVIDIA actually has picked up a console. The last time they did that was that the original Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that they picked up one of the major console manufacturers here. All right, let's move on to our next topic here. Rumors of the Samsung Galaxy S8, as well as also some stuff with the Note. So some of the rumors are the Note line is going to
Oh, it's dead.
disappear. That it's going to go away. And then we have rumors of the S8. S8 is going to have a dual camera setup, a 4K display Samsung's looking at. I don't know about the 4K display, but I would not, I won't put it past them now
High
to
DPI.
try and
High PPI, high DPI.
High PI. I won't pass them to do something crazy just to bring people's mindsets back to Samsung. I think what we're going to see next year is the Note line will disappear, but I think we're going to get the S7 Edge become the Note.
Yeah, I think
That's literally what's going to happen.
I think the Edge is just going to have the pen.
They have the same chassis of the device built for the.
And it will be called, no, there won't be an Edge anymore. It will just be called the S8 Pro. That's what they'll call it. They'll call it the S8 Pro. That pen will show up back again. We'll all be at the event. Everyone will let out a big roar and cheer and forget that Samsung almost killed us.
All right, Sam. Thoughts? Let me mute.
No, I totally agree with you, with both of you. The S8, I mean, the Note name is going to die, but like I was saying, the release day for I was thinking what they were going to do was they were going to bring up the release date for the whatever the Note replacement is to probably mid next year, so they can have something Q1 and then the next would be Q2. But the 8 Pro makes sense if they release everything at once. So basically, Samsung says no more 2 releases, no more announcements at IFA or whatever. We're just going to do everything at MWC. We're going to have the S8s, the S8 Edge or the S8 Pro, and that's it. All our phones in one place, and this is what they were going to eventually with the change of basically what is it with the whole Galaxy line stuff and skipping the 7. I mean, skipping the 6 to bring the 7 and bring all the naming in line or the numbering in line. So this is not. I think this is something that they were planning for to happen 2 or 3 years down the road, but it's just happening now because explosions.
Yeah, explosions. But I think there wasn't going to be a Note 8. I just could not see them making another Note, even as much as they would have sold it. I think they were on track to bring that pen feature into the Pro devices. I could see something like they're going to release 3 phones, probably announce sometime either at MWC. Well, they don't even need to do it then. They can announce it in March or April, whenever the heck they feel like it at this point, because they're big enough to do those type of things. So I could see really.
Yeah, but the international press, though, they'll need to do it at MWC.
They'll just fly them in. You've been to a Samsung event. They just fly them in. They bring all of South Korea with them, all in the event. Remember, they shoved us all. Remember, they shoved us all into the Radio City Music Hall one year. So they'll bring them over if they need to. But I think there will be an S8 standard. I as much as I'd love to see them get rid of that, I think they will always have a standard version of that phone, because that's what people are comfortable with. They're not going to want to rock the boat, especially with what's happened recently. I think there'll be an S8 Edge 5.5, a little bit bigger with the edges on it, and then the Pro, which will basically kind of look like a Note without the Pro naming on it. And it'll just be without the Note name on it, and it will have the pen with it. They'll introduce 3 tiers, and that's what they'll go with pretty much each year. And then there might be a little nuanced phone that'll come down, or some different type of device down the road in the distant future. That's what I think they can end up sort of doing with it. What go ahead.
I think that the next line will be the foldable phones, the bendable screens and all that. The rumors are 2018 for that, so we might just see a first glimpse in 2017, or at least a teaser of it, or something like that. I think that's where that's going to actually go. But I definitely agree with you guys. It's basically the S8 Pro. I don't think you're gonna have an Edge. But I do agree, though, they might just keep one as being the regular screen, and then the Edge will just be the Pro. and we'll have that. And like you said, I think there's going to be an MWC. I don't think they're going to do separate because they want to have everyone's good favor at this point. You need to have that like good feels back. MWC is a massive place, massive announcement. You don't need to spend money flying people over because people have to come to MWC. So that's another thing to know. Yeah.
They would only have to pay for the
exactly.
Over.
Yeah, and they'll still
the U.S. press doesn't go to MWC.
And they'll still have their US and local events for people in big markets that they know people can't make it to say, hey, come down and check out the device and things like that. So that's always going to be there. Our last topic, I know there's LeEco made some announcements. We'll talk about that quickly. But our last topic, because we've kind of run through time through Nintendo, AT&T is looking to buy Time Warner. And it looks like this deal might be done. Yesterday I was talking to Sam and I was like, well, Comcast is trying to buy them, but I guess since AT&T's is smaller, even though it's a bigger company. So that's probably why.
Just bought DirecTV.
Yeah. So thoughts, Warren, before I mute myself, and then we can move on to Sam.
Interesting. I get it. I just don't think the regulator is going to let this pass through. I can't see them getting a pass on this and being able to buy two giant media companies. It isn't like DirecTV was a small player. It wasn't like back in the 90s we had all these small little cable companies and Comcast kind of bought them all up kind of slowly. They were massive. And to see them be allowed to buy another massive company, I just don't quite know if that's going to play through. They'll try, but they might get T-Mobile again. Hopefully they didn't make the deal to give them money if they didn't get it through. Somebody, anybody. Sam!
You were done. Christ. So at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, basically, it's a smart idea for them to do it for Time Warner. DirecTV is DirecTV gives them one thing, and DirecTV only gave them basically inroads into cable TV. If you want the cable TV and if you want to compete with Verizon, you want both cable TV and you want internet to the home, and that is what that's what Time Warner gives you, right? So AT&T is making a good play here. My only concern at the end of the day with AT&T and Time Warner is Time Warner has some of the worst customer service, and AT&T is known for also having the best customer service, right? So how do they make sure that their consumers are actually being satisfied at this point now? Because before it was when Comcast and Time Warner were going to merge, the big thing was, oh God, it's going to be like the worst customer service. Well, the concern is still there for AT&T and Time Warner. Now, if they end up buying it, which it looks like all indications are pointing to the fact that this deal is going to go through, the rollout is going to be very interesting. Are they going to try to bundle AT&T phone service with Time Warner, which I hope they don't do? I hope they don't pull a Verizon and go, well, for a Verizon customer, you get Time Warner cheaper now. AT&T customers, you get Time Warner cheaper now. And for people who aren't AT&T, well, if you switch to AT&T, you get your Time Warner cheaper. That will be just basically.
This is a whole Xfinity. They want the Xfinity triple play thing going. This is what this is all about. Do you think regulators are going to really let this one go through? It seems like if they couldn't buy T-Mobile, they wouldn't let buy Comcast. They didn't let Comcast buy Time Warner. I don't know. Like, it just seems like if they were allowed to get away with this, I can't blame the other two companies for getting really pissed about it. I couldn't blame them because it's not like AT&T is a small company, and it's. I don't know, but the Time Warner name will go away though. It'd be all called AT&T Uverse. They would just rebrand it as Uverse and push their products out there. They probably eliminated as much Time Warner infrastructure as and replace it as much as they could. But
no, I definitely agree there. I'm not sure if this is going to go through in terms of it passing through Congress.
If it does, man, that's a
Oh,
that's just a
who knows?
bad
Yeah,
precedent.
yeah, we'll see about that one. But before we round up, just quick thoughts on LeEco. LeEco is the I believe is a Chinese company.
Yes,
Um,
they
they made the announcement this week. They're coming into the U.S. market. They also bought Vizio. And they made some really major announcements in terms of kind of products they bring in. So they announced the Echo TV. They haven't merged the Vizio and TV brands together, but they had some interesting pricings there. They had the Echo Pro, the smartphone, which is also aggressively priced, lower than that $400 price range. They
really
showed,
aggressive. Though.
yeah, they showed their LeEco because basically the LeEco 3 Pro or Pro 3 is a Snapdragon 821 processor phone that's priced at 299. So it's the same processor you find in your Pixel and Asus Zenfone 3 Deluxe. So that's the only two devices that have that now. The only difference there it's running a 1080p display instead of a 2K display. They also showcase their smart bike as well as also their car. So what I found interesting with the announcement is that they showcased a lot of things and not focusing on one thing while coming into a new market, especially coming to the US market. So I just want to get your thoughts, Warren. I know I'm not sure if you caught it, Sam, but I want to get your thoughts on this, Warren, first, and what you thought on LeEco's announcement. And then once Warren's done, Sam can continue. So I'm going to mute myself now.
So for LeEco, if people don't recognize the name, they were actually used to be called LeTV. On my channel, I actually have a video of one of their smartphones, one or two of their smartphones I have on it. It was the first smartphone this year that released with a Snapdragon 820 inside of it. And the biggest thing about them at that time they were really pushing was a lot of their content services. Their whole thing is really about pushing video and pushing television and movie content to devices, and that's kind of their big backbone. That's kind of how they got sort of up there. So they're trying to use that ecosystem to then sell hardware to people to basically access that particular content, because they did announce a bunch of content deals. I think they have some good, interesting stuff. It's gonna. I like the aggressive pricing on the phones. They're selling directly right off of their website, directly into the market. They look like I like the announcement in general because it looks like we thought about this. We're ready to play. Here's what we have. This is what's going to show up, and we're going to make it work in America. You're going to be able to get these things, and all these things are going to be able to work with each other in this ecosystem. So it's like a content delivery company, which I think LeTV originally was, now saying, all right, we have the content. Now let's put the hardware out there to fully immerse our users into our brand. So I think it's some interesting stuff. I wish I was there to kind of get the chance to hands-on, kind of look at a few different things, but it'll be interesting. But probably at CES this year, they'll probably have a pretty big booth, and we'll be able to really see a lot of the things that they're going to offer here.
Agree with you. I think what it is, it's a big content company. It was Netflix before there was Netflix. So
Yeah.
Lay TV is probably looking at what it's done in Asia and trying to transform that into success in the United States. Buying Vizio is definitely a very very good move for them, because other companies in the United States, instead of trying to buy Vizio, decided to try to fight Vizio, and yeah, that was not the right strategy. I think they found a very good strategy. LeEco also does VR. They also have an electric bike, so it's going to be a suite of services. And I think what they're going to be doing is something more similar to what Chinese businesses or Asian businesses do um, over in Asia, and bring that to the US, which is offer everything and its mother, and then refine it to to what people actually need, or to what people actually crave at the end of the day. So it's going to take a few years for us to see exactly how it plays out in the US, but I think it should really put all It should put all the U.S. manufacturers, the Apples of the world, the Googles of the world, the Netflixes of the world. It should really put them on alert, because we're seeing here that there are a lot of Asian companies that have an appetite for the Western market, and the biggest Western market out there right now, the consumer market, is going to be the U.S. So if these companies are targeting the U.S., Apple companies like Apple need to start asking themselves, when your sales or your penetration in China is dropping significantly. Now you're having these companies come over to the US and probably are going to do pretty well. How do you innovate? How do you change up? What can you offer your consumers to continue, so you can continue to be relevant? And I think LeEco is really